Now let me formally welcome all the participants to this great webinar on industrialization of Kerala. We have a great person here with us, Dr. GC Gopala Pillai, who has changed, revolutionized the Kerala's stature in the field of industry. I welcome Arvind Krishnan, a student of Ahalya School of Management, to formally welcome our chief guest. Arvind, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there. Thank you.
Please go ahead, Arvind.
Good evening, all. I consider it an honor to introduce and invite our chief guest and speaker of today, Dr. GC Gopala Pillai, sir. He is the professor of Xavier Institute of Management, former CMD, FACT, former executive chairman, Keltron, former MD of Kinfra, former vice chancellor, National University of Advanced Legal Studies, former dean, faculty of Management Studies, University of Kerala, former executive chairman, Public Sector Restructuring Board, former MD, Infrastructure Kerala, INCAL, and executive chairman, Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, Kerala, and he is the chairman of National Institute of Personal Management Trust, Travancore. Thank you, sir. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Friends, this is a great occasion. Personally, I feel privileged to be with all of you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
There's some problem in the screen display. Yeah, okay, fine. First of all, let me thank the top management of the Ahalya School, including my great brother, Dr. V.S. Gopal, Mr. Sharath, and also coming to the educational field, Dr. Mahadevan Pillai, Dr. Ashokan, and all who are concerned about this webinar. Let me thank for giving this opportunity to me to address the students, faculty, and those who are concerned. That is the first thing. The topic is very general, I am aware. However, I will be dwelling upon the practical aspect of the problem, the industrialization of Kerala. People are talking about for last 70 years, at least for the last 45 years, 46 years, I'm also party to the seminars and meetings and things like that of this particular topic of industrialization of Kerala. They have been traveling across the globe, propagating why you should come to Kerala for investment. And what happened all the 46 years, I do not know. I myself feeling guilty that nothing moved very much. Instead of the status of Kerala industrialization as on 1947 and as on today, if you take it, the percentage-wise, India's percentage of industrialization at the time of our independence and at present today, not even half of what we achieved at that time is available today. Is it a progress? I do not know. Once upon a time, I remember during early 70s when I was going to the Kalamasheri Udyogamandal area, early morning, 7 o'clock to 8:30, every junction, hundreds and hundreds of people happily moving towards their own companies. Such a scenario I could not envisage during 2000, after 2000. What happened to those people? What happened to those companies? It's a big despairing situation. So I'll be dwelling upon here today, to cut it short. First, the Indian scenario of industry in the past, that is pre-British period. Pre-British period means up to 1700 or so. What happened? And at the time of independence, what was the status of Indian industry? Just as a glimpse. In the slides which I am going to present, it will be. And next scenario is the old Kerala scenario, the beginning of industrial development during the king and queen of the Travancore during 1883 and those periods till the time of independence. What are the way the Kerala has progressed in terms of industrialization? Third aspect probably I'll cover is the way forward for Kerala. What shall we do now? The present issues in Kerala's industrialization we have to dwell upon. the problems of industrial development, what are the type of industries we want. These are things we should discuss. Yet another issue recently come forward, which you might have gone through the newspapers, when Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman, our finance minister of India, made a declaration five days back that the public sectors are going to be privatized, except in the sensitive areas. 4 public sectors in each of the sensitive areas will be retained, and all the balance has 100% going to be privatized. This is the declaration she already made. I am also again surprised because not much a hue and cry or any other protest, and serious protest. There is some protest. Serious protest has emerged on account of this. Why I said this is it's only incidental, because 4 or 5 years back, I was the director of the Cochin Shipyard, independent director. 5, 6 years back, there is a proposal to give some shares to the public, including the trade union leaders, and to the public. Maybe some 10% or 15% of the existing shares can be given to the public. There's a big strike. There's a big trade union issues in front of the gate, and so many days we are unable to move. And that is a type of protest, even partial, 10% of shares to be given to the public. That is not a privatization, but still the way the reaction came was very serious. But now everything is going to be privatized means nobody is talking anything about it. This is a surprise, because this is a closed door audience of the students and educational institution. I am just trying to say, whether privatization good or not, we'll develop on separately. I have my views also. Probably I have written an article in Kerala Kaumudy, which will come tomorrow or day after tomorrow on this particular issue of privatization. There may be reasons for and against, which is a separate topic we'll develop on. This is another area. Let us come back to the present scenario. Today there is a crisis. All of us know COVID-19 crisis. Lot of things have been talked about. The opportunity in front of us today is a war-like situation, like a war. It is more than a World War III, probably. There's a COVID war. People are running. They don't know what to do now, because there is no solution. If it is a world war, normally there is a solution. There are 2 parties and somebody can't cover a settlement, or some bomb will be dropped out. Things will be settled in a year's time. But today, whether vaccines can be found out or there can be settlement possible in the near future, nobody is able to predict anything. So it's a total confusion over the war-like situation. So people are talking about the opportunity in front of us. Everybody blames China. There may be reasons for blaming China. Let us not argue on that topic. But the opportunity in front of us, because there is a flight of industries from China to other places, including America, Japan, and so many other countries. Do we have an opportunity? Whether India have an opportunity, and that too Kerala have an opportunity to bring some of those industries to our state, is a big question. And some people already raised a voice that we don't want Chinese companies here, due to whatever spirit or reason or whatever it may be. It is not Chinese companies. It is the companies from China. It is not Chinese companies going to come from there. But Japanese companies, American companies, Taiwanese companies, many companies would like to get out of China due to whatever their own reasons. Whether we have an opportunity. This is also to be discussed in the days to come. All of us know that Kerala is a great state in India. It is like a mini Singapore, if you really, I can call so. It could have been made a mini Singapore, not a really mini Singapore. But the traits, the characteristics, or the behavior pattern of this small state is definitely different from any other states in India, which we all of us know. In terms of the level of education, in terms of the health parameters, or in terms of the housing aspects, and also the infant mortality, and many many areas, Kerala is class apart. Is it an opportunity for us because of these characteristics? One problem the experts were mentioning, I'll come to the real reasons later, is the quality of life. We are talking about the strikes, lockouts, and so many other issues, which I will develop on in the next few minutes. But quality of life is one thing which normally people are not talking about. Whether we like it or not, whether we are Gandhians or modern people, whatever it may be, the people who are going to come and invest in this state would like to have a different types of quality of life. In the sense, they would like to have a club, they would like to have leisure centers, they would like to have golf clubs, and they would like to have pubs for drinking and the evening hours, and that sort of a life they would like to have. Whether we can afford to give that sort of a situation is one thing we should think. The quality of life in Kerala, because I remember some 15 years back, the Kerala Minister of Industries and Principal Secretary Industries, myself, we are all went to Munich in Germany to invite the BMW. A prefixed meeting with the president of the company, everything is fixed. And they were interested by our presentation or whatever reason they were interested. BMW's company is going to set up their industry in Cochin. We showed the HMD area, Kinfra got some land, we showed the land. They were impressed with the land, everything. But a few questions they asked is there enough public schools here where the officers' children can get a better education? So we showed some board on the roadside naming public school, but we don't want to go inside because inside the facilities may not be the real standard of a public school. But then they asked about the English-speaking people. So we took them to St. Teresa's College, which is considered to be one of the best in Kerala. But after seeing and talking to students, they wanted a live situation, whether how they react. And they said they will give only 30% marks. So ultimately, they didn't come, due to whatever reasons. Some other reason was the next visit was arranged, that day there was a hartal in the airport. So that was a big setback for them. And they went back, a lot of effort, months together, we took effort, everything got wasted. So that may be another reason, but whatever may be, the quality of life in Kerala should be satisfactory so that the place will be enough attractive. So these are some of the initial thoughts on this topic. I just thought of giving it. Then we'll come back to the actual presentation. A few minutes we'll take a presentation. Is it okay? Shall we start the presentation?
Yes, sir, we can start. You can tell me when you want to move the slide. You can tell me next. So I'll move to the next one.
You can put the first slide.
Yes.
Okay. As we know, before Christ, 3,300, between 3,000 and 1,300 BC, the economy of India significantly depended on trade and examples of overseas trade. In the sense, this country was progressed so much. Nowhere in the world this sort of progress was visible as far as the progress India has achieved. Next. Put the next slide.
Yes, sir. Yes, I have put the next slide. It has appeared now.
Okay.
GDP estimates.
Yeah, GDP estimate. If you look at the GDP estimate in AD1, the GDP, the column 1, 2, 3, 4 from the last. If you look at GDP compared to the world standard, it is 32. 32 percentage or whatever you call it. Then up to 1700, if you look at 1700, it was 24, up to 25% of the world. And thereafter, there's a sudden decline, you can see. compared to the world standard, it was up to 25. It was more than 50, but 25, and stagnated at 25. And thereafter, there is a coming down. 16, 12, 7. It goes down, and in 1990 become 4.05. So this was the GDP situation at that point of time.
So shall I go to the next slide?
Next. Yeah, historically, India was the largest economy in the world for most of the next 3 millennia, which we have seen it from first millennia onwards. And there was a common economic system during the Mahajanapadas. Mahajanapada means it's a culture. Mahajanapada. Mahajan Pada means the total area of the India's substantial area is called Mahajanapada, belong to the people and belong to the country people, etc., etc. And that was considered as the most prominent, period of India, wherein everyone, even we have made silver coins, unimaginable at that time. We printed coins, silver coins, and probably the Europe and the Americans were still in the top of the tree. Probably they're not come down at that point of time. So that was the progress we have achieved at that point of time, and there is a common economic system and enhanced trade and commerce, and there is an increased agriculture productivity and progress. Next.
Yes, sir.
Next is India had the largest economy for most of the interval between 1st century and 18th century, which we have seen from the early slides, and 25% of the world's industrial output till the 18th century, prior to the British rule starting during 1800s. Next. India experienced a deindustrialization.
Okay.
There's some problem.
I request. I know somebody has unmuted. I would request all the participants to mute your microphones. Yeah. Now you can go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So there is a deindustrialization and cessation of various craft industries under British rule. You heard about the Dhaka muslin. Under the nail, you can put a sari. That is a type of fineness attached at that point of time on the Dhaka muslin. And also handlooms and many other areas. I couldn't see anything now. Hello, can you hear?
Hello. So can you hear me? Yes, I can.
Yeah,
Yes,
I can.
hear. Yes.
Okay, so that was the period of the British colonial rule. What exactly happened? Next. Coming to the Kerala scenario. Came to the Kerala scenario slide. The heading Kerala scenario. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a brief discussion about the Kerala scenario, because once you understand that, we'll also know India how much it is progressed, and Kerala especially how much it is progressed. It is very interesting to note that Travancore under Maharaja Marthandavarma, that is the earlier Marthandavarma, the first state to nationalize trade in commercial crops. Can you imagine that during 1700s, all our commercial crops, which are called the cash crops, income generating, whether it is rice or barley or sugarcane, coffee, etc., etc., they were nationalized. And after 100 years, when that nationalization situation is not needed, and a lot of private people come, and it has become the necessity for the economics to change to private sector, they denationalized also after 100 years. So this is the type of The concept of privatization, nationalization, etc., the other state came to know during only after 1970. But we did it again some 300 years back. So in Kerala, in Travancore, rather we call it Travancore or Cochin, there are two types of industries. There is factory industries and cottage industries. Next. So in the coir sector, where the first trade union movement started during 1920s, the first industry itself came in the coir sector in 1859 in Alleppey. It is done by an American called James Dara with another trader, Mr. Henry Smale, and the company, the name is Dara Smale and Company. This is the first industry in Kerala in the year 1859. Thereafter, a textile mill in Koilon started by an American again in 1881, and an indigo factory, which is very famous, in Kulachal, that is south of Travancore. Now it is in the Kanyakumari district. It's merged with earlier near Kulachal. There is a Patnapuram Palace, which is considered to be the second capital of Travancore. Now, these are all part of Kerala once, or Travancore once upon a time. And the indigo factory started in 83 by a Dutch group of people. And Alleppey, look at that. You know, when you speak about location of industries, there are certain traits or criteria for setting up industries in a particular place. When we started Kinfra, the first thing during 1990s we decided was how to make the cluster of industries in a particular place. That was one of the thing we thought of doing it. The cluster, you know, location of industries, how will you decide? This decision was taken during that time in 1850s and 60s when the coir industry was to be set up. That is a Alleppey, this is flourished because there is a good climate and coconut trees were very much available in that area. Next is Alleppey is considered as the Venice of the South. The water transport were very cheap, which can take it to Cochin. The canal was fully developed at that time. And availability of cheap labor and plenty of raw materials, that is for coir industry. These are some of the reasons why the coir industries developed so much at that point of time. Next. Some other industries started during that period, 1885-90 period, was salt manufacturing company in Trivandrum, Karunagapalli, and Karthikapalli. These are on Koilon belt, Trivandrum Koilon area. In 1984, the famous Koilon spinning mill, till recently it was working, started by European manufacturer. In 1887, Punalur paper mill started. It's very interesting, Amazonian contribution in industrialization. Then, next slide. The real foundation of, can you hear?
Okay. Yes, sir. I can hear, sir. We can hear.
The real effort or the social aspect of industrialization, which is also laid the foundation stone for growing industry, was done by His Highness Swathi Tirunal, 1813 to 1846. So he has formulated code of laws. The first time all the legislation were codified. The Court of Justice started, introduced English education. An observatory was started in Trivandrum, which is opposite to the Kanavakunnu Palace in Trivandrum. Installation of the first government printing press and first manuscript library, where a lot of archives materials are kept. These are all played a major role in assisting the socio aspect, the socio-cultural aspect for augmenting the industrialization started by His Highness Swathi Tirunal. Next. Next come Rani Sethu Lakshmi Bai's regency. That's very interesting because the Maharaja Chitra Tirunal, he was only 12 years old when Sri Mulan Tirunal, the real Maharaja, died. The nephew has to take place. because he is not a major, the regent, that is his mother's elder sister, was the next seniority. She ruled. That's Rani Sethu Lakshmi Bai. Become regency. Regency means like a second in command. You know, she started ruling this country for a few years. And probably she must have been, she's a very progressive lady. And she was very bold also. She never listened to small petty aspects. And she take bold decisions and try to do a lot of things for paving the way for industrialization. And large-scale industrialization, if at all, started from 1931, after she given to Sithiradinal. It is because of certain dedicated activities of regency. So renovation of the existing industries, she has taken some steps which were not functioning properly, and transformation of traditional agriculture fields to become modern agriculture industries also, it was her contribution. Next. The Diwan of Travancore was from a Tamil Nadu called C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer. One way he is famous, and one way he is notorious. He stood against the independence of the Travancore to merge with the Indian Union. That's why he became notorious. But at the same time, the type of activities he has taken for the progression of Kerala or India's southernmost part, nobody can forget. If at all there is industrialization happened up to 1947, the entire credit goes to C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer along with the Maharaja, that is Chitradirunal. That's why I said that the 1947, the percentage of industries in Travancore or Travancore Cochin, including Cochin belt, that is Udyogomandal belt, percentage, India's share, if you take it, if it was 25% at that time, now it is not even 2%. That is the decline of industries in Kerala after 1947. The percentage which I mentioned is subject to correction. So next. So CP tried to carry on with a lot of steps in industrializing Kerala. So he is one very shrewd person. He understood that Kerala, the strength is with manpower, the strength is abundance of water. And how does it affect industry and the people? He has a vision. So he thought, why not start hydroelectricity, which is the cheapest. Today, actual cost of electricity in Kerala is 10 paisa, according to me. Whereas we are paying 6 rupees, 7 rupees, etc., etc. The real price, because water is no price. Then the capital cost of the machinery, etc., is already over. It is more than 30 years old. Then what is the expenditure? All our white elephants, so-called white elephants, the employees are the, I'm sorry for making a critical comment about electricity board's functioning, but the real price, the cost of electricity is less than 10 price, whereas we are paying maybe 5 rupees, 6 rupees, 10 rupees, I don't know. So the hydroelectricity, there is a boost up during the time of C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer, and because once the electricity comes, what are the type of industries which can come? Chemical industries, aluminum industries. The history of industrialization, the Indian Aluminium Company in Cochin started because there is a power availability. The foundation stone for power started sometime late 1930s, and it really functioned during 42-43. So in 1935, next. In 1935, the first rubber factory was established at Travancore. That is a Trivandrum Rubber Works. It is functioned till recently, but it is closed due to whatever reasons. And that is probably the first public sector company in Asia. It is considered in 1935. Next. It is also, see, the resource-based industries. What is the strength of Kerala? One is water, so hydroelectricity, let it come. Next is China clay. we found that Koilon region and some part of the Trivandrum region, there is a lot of China clay. The Kundra China clay is the world famous because that sort of a refinement, that sort of a dexterity of that sort of a China clay, which is not available anywhere in the world even. So in Kundra, the Travancore ceramic factory started by the Maharaja in 1940. Way back in 1940, that started the Travancore ceramic industry. Then next slide. Then comes the demand for softwood was increased, and a few timber industries started in and around Kottayam district. Next. Next, some transport sector is at another area where some stress is to be given. So the roads are very bad. I enjoyed traveling into the Nagarkovil Kanyakumari road. It is a concrete road. I still remember during my college days, I used to travel in that road, some 12 kilometers road, completely concrete. And it laid down during early 40s. But even after 40 years, even 80s, 40 years, not even a small breakage anywhere in the road. It is never retarded or reworked or things like that. Probably our own PWD people wanted, or the Tamil Nadu PWD wanted a regular income, they tarred it. So every 3 months, every 6 months, every 1 year, there will be repairs. Without repair and things like that, PWD cannot survive. Kerala situation, you know very well what is happening in the Kerala roads, because just when the rain starts, they will start repairing, because then immediately within 3 months or 6 months, the next repair can come. You look at what is going to happen when the rain is going to come, they will start work also. So this is a typical scenario, but at that time when C.P. Ramaswamy here laid the road from Trivandrum to Kanyakumari, he put the road, and also he inaugurated, he started the Nerimangalam to Munnar road also during 1939. 1931 he put that next road also. Okay, industry is concerned, in 39 he started the plywood industry. That has become very famous. One of the first plywood industry he started. And in Punalur, next slide. In Punalur paper mills, which is also very old, which he could start, with the help of some private people also joined at that time to start the Punalur paper mills. Next. The industrialization of Travancore concerned, the Maharaja never turned his eye against the bringing modern technology. At that point of time, whatever the best technology available, he tried to bring in. Next. So a lot of investment also made for the industrialization by the Maharaja with the help of C.P. Ramaswamy from Madras Presidency. A lot of people got attracted towards investment in Kerala. And if you look at the FACT, it started as a private sector during early 40s. On the major, even till the major giant, as far as the industry is concerned, it is there, and they started very well. Next slide. Indian Aluminium Company, IAC, set up in 1943 by the Canadian group of people for aluminium. Now, late after 2000, it is taken over by Birlas. But that company was one of the best company in India. For information, the first productivity agreement done Indian Aluminium Company way back in 1957, the first in Asia probably. They have factories in Hirakud and two other places. Belur near Calcutta. They have the Belur agreement is very famous as far as the productivity agreement is concerned. Our own Keralite, Mr. P.N. Krishna Pillai, who was also the founder of one of the founders of the trade union movement in Kerala. He was the personal director of Indian Aluminium Company, who initiated the productivity agreement. I mean, at that time, I know some of these people in India are going to be cut through him because he was my PhD research guide also. So in this slide, it's called the Travancore Electrochemical Industries Chingamanam near Kottayam. It started in 1945. And TTP, very famous, Travancore Titanium Products started in 46, etc. Some of the new industries came before 1947. Next. It is already mentioned that due to Pallivasal, some of the industrialization happened due to the Pallivasal project, hydroelectric project. Next. So, while inaugurating the Trivandrum rubber factory in 1935, look at the vision of the Maharaja. He said, abundant supply of raw materials, its cheap labor and transport facilities and electrical power. These are available in Kerala, so in Travancore, and that in Travancore, Cochin, so anybody can come invest. Even today, we are talking about the same thing, except electricity, all other things, we are boasting ourselves to be available, but the investors has not decided or made up their mind due to other reasons, which will come back later. Next. So, period of 16 years from 1931 to 47, with the Maharaja Chitrathal Baldavarma, marked a new epic in the history of Travancore, along with C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer, which all along we are mentioning. Next. Again, these are all some additional information regarding the industrialization aspect. And there is no intention to assert here that there are no labor problems in Kerala. There are labor problems. See, today, some of the studies which some of the famous institutions in Kerala published says that the number of man days lost and lockouts are very less in Kerala. But there is no meaning in saying that because there is no industries at all. Then what is the question of the percentage wise? How do we calculate? If you calculated during early 70s or 60s, we could have agreed that there is a meaning in this figure. But today, where is the industry? So, in the technically or for the purpose of calculation, saying that in Kerala the percentage of lockout and strikes, etc., less is correct also. But look at the number of employees and number of factories, etc., is a very dismal picture as far as that is concerned. I just want to take you to when we talk about the industrialization, I just wanted to take you to some other next slide, servitization. So before really going to the actual issues, which is going to be discussed with the participants also, the problems of industrialization. Let me tell you that if Kerala has to survive on whatever industry already set up or going to set up, the concept of servitization. Servitization is nothing but giving service. When you sell a product, a fridge or washing machine or whatever it may be. Now we have a guarantee period, we have AMC, annual maintenance contract, etc., etc. But you pack all those things along with the price and continue an earnest service till the customer wanted. Servitization, service, that sort of a concept. If the students can look at the Wikipedia or whatever it may be and find out detailed literature of servitization, which is coming up in some part of the world very seriously, and experience shows that the customers are very happy with the servitization. Okay, now let us take some unhealthy practices on development. What does Kerala want? Kerala want some of the industries which are most suited for Kerala. One, I mean, this what we want is we don't want any development if it is destroying the environment. You taken that slide? Next slide. Unhealthy idea.
Okay. Yes, sir.
We don't
Untitled.
want any
Yeah.
development if it is destroying the environment. Point number one. Let us keep this point in mind before industrializing Kerala. Today's indiscriminate industrialization in India leads to atmospheric pollution and resource depletion. We know that even the Delhi, the oxygen kiosk, for half an hour, you have to pay. The entire universe is given by the God for breathing. Now we have to pay for half an hour, 1 hour, etc. Thanks to COVID in one respect, because Delhi is clean now. Within 2 months, Delhi is clean. There is no pollution in the Delhi area. I'm sorry, in a humorous sense, I'm telling about that. There's a tendency of developed nations to use the developing nations as their wasteland. We know some of the news recently that Cochin port, in the name of second-hand equipments, the waste, the electronic waste and other waste come to dump somewhere in the state of Kerala, which the first ship was unloaded. Later somebody sensed it, it is for dumping, and then the second ship was sent back. So what is this developed countries are thinking about India? I don't know. This has to be given a real snap back. So that situation is also, especially in Kerala, it can't work. And the greed-based US way of, American way of life, which is typical of developed nations. So when you go to, I'm sorry, I'm also thinking little conservative. When you go to a hotel in America, the amount of wastage in the dishes in the hotel when we eat is unimaginable. More than 50%, they know very well that they don't want to use it, but it's a style. They simply waste it. That is typical American culture. There's no wonder. I mean, if we feel guilty and sitting and viewing this sort of style of Americans, wastage of food. Similarly, anything they wanted to be little lavish. And as far as Indians or third world countries are concerned, our life is need-based. So there is a difference between these two. So the conclusion is it is time for us to look at the alternate model of individual development, which is called sustainable development model. Let us look at that. What is sustainable development? It is a process of change. Next slide. Exploitation of resources. Exploitation, the positive sense. Usefulness of resources. Direction of investments. Reorientation of technology development and institutional change. That is the process of development. All the above are in harmony, which aims at meeting the needs of the aspirations of the people. This modern technology, everything is, even IT, modern development, machine learning, AI, artificial intelligence, everything can be accepted. There is no issue because there is no pollution, there is nothing. It doesn't harm the people. So the technology as well as the direction of investment, these things should be very positive. Then it is okay. So sustainable development is a progress of growth which is in harmony with nature and is concerned with the future. So this is the model which can be accepted for Kerala. So earlier I have also mentioned regarding the quality of life, what they expect, etc., etc. That is also to be kept in mind. So let us close this slide and now come to some other points which we also discuss. So what are the types of industries most suited for Kerala? So this is a point, without using the slides, I'll talk to you from my experience also. Let us think about the employment-oriented industries. What Kerala wants today is more and more employment. But employment-oriented industry doesn't mean that other resources and other things, other factors of production is not available, means this is not possible. So keep in mind the employment-oriented industries. Then also the industry should be environment friendly. Because if you look at this agriculture, increased higher productivity, and we have a lot of other resources, that then we'll come back to the third point, resource-based industries. So first is employment-oriented industries, environment-friendly industries, resource-based industries. These three can be kept in mind when we industrialize Kerala. Any investor comes from anywhere, we can say we will be focusing on these industries. A resource-based industries means what? We have lot of food eatables, the fruits and other things like pineapple, like coconut, like tapioca, like I mean a few. I mean that list for processing. So why not value-added products in food processing, which is environment friendly, and also it gives a lot of employment opportunity. Then comes IT. IT industries and knowledge-based industries. When I said that the employment-oriented, environment-friendly, resource-based, and the type of industry which can come under the three headings are, one is knowledge-based industries. Knowledge-based industries means artificial intelligence, machine learning, robots. All these things has to come. One thing I can assure you that by introducing the modern artificial intelligence and robotics and machine learning, etc., immediately it may if it seemingly affect the employment, but if it like computer revolution, but it increases the number of employment opportunities will remain same or better even. Today, the people who opposed the computer during early 70s, now the number of employment opportunities in computer is 100 times than at that point of time. So the knowledge-based industries and IT industries, which is suitable for Kerala, can be welcomed. The third aspect is tourism industry. Abundant potential. But tourism industry, again, as somebody said, don't go with the Kathakali alone. Our brand tourism Kathakali during 70s and 80s, FACT, where I worked for some time, we were the masters of marketing the brand image of Kathakali. We encouraged Kathakali also that time. That's fine. But today that is not enough. The water-based tourism, health tourism, these are some of the modern things, Ayurveda. This can be encouraged terribly, and a lot of employment opportunities and income generation is possible with the tourism industry. The inland water canal-based tourism is yet another area. All our, petrol, the oil deficiency, everything partly can be cured with if the inland water canals are navigated. From Trivandrum to Kochi, there's no difficulty except 2-3 kilometers in Varkala. It is navigable. Once it was navigable. Now we closed it many places. It is our creation of closing the navigable thing. And in Cochin itself, there are more than 50 small canals which can be interconnected. But we have small houses, huts, and we want to close it and we wanted to encroach upon. And there is a proposal also we have submitted earlier, sometime back, how to navigate the 50 canals in Cochin. And if this can be interconnected, go to up to the Cochin airport. Imagine the tourism potential. And if from Cochin boat jetty or somewhere, if somebody can get to the boat and taken up to the airport to and fro, people don't mind. Going to the airport is one thing, but as a tourism itself, they can go. Then transportation. From Trivandrum to Cochin via inland canal, and also within Cochin, 50 canals can be navigable. The cost of transportation and the fuel savings is unimaginable. So inland water canal is yet another area where we can think of something very positive. Then along with the IT industries, I wanted to add biotechnology and nanotechnology. These are all friendly industries as Kerala's environment is concerned. People welcome it. And then service industries. Imagine the nursing. I remember 2000, Lord Sirajpur Caparo Group of Industries. He happened to be a very close friend of mine. So Kinsra invited him, and he spent 1 week with us in Trivandrum. He made a suggestion. At that point of time, it was very attractive, but people didn't pay attention. He said, okay, you start a nursing college in Kerala. Some 5,000 students you take. The entire 5,000 can be taken to European countries for employment, which is assured, because that much in demand. Even today, Kerala has not started so much, but in other neighboring states, in cattle shed and things like that, they started nursing institutions. And the type of training they're given is horrible. And unfortunately, the Kerala, we could have made use of this opportunity. We are yet to make it. Of course, there is some improvement, but the service industry aspect is concerned, we can go ahead with a lot of progress as far as that is concerned. These are some thoughts on the type of industries which we can come and which can be utilized, etc., etc. And now let us think about the reasons for lack of industrialization in Kerala. You can make some points for question answer session from whatever. You can disagree with me also, whatever I said. I mean, we welcome disagreement, because then only we can progress. And everybody talked about today, manpower is costly in Kerala. It's a fact. That's how the so-called name PIEs, a few lakhs North Indian or other state migrant workers are working in Kerala. Now the development of Kerala, how it's going to affect when they return, is yet to be seen. This is another after effect of COVID-19. Let us wait and see. But basically, the manpower is costly in Kerala, number one. Number two, for doing physical labor, no Keralite is willing. Nobody is wanting to do any physical labor. That's how the notorious problem Nokuguli started. What is this Nokuguli? I don't know. Last Sunday, I made an article and I got a lot of threatening calls. I said those who wanted asking for Nokuguli, the government should start imprisoning them, 3 months or 6 months imprisonment for asking for Nokuguli, because it's a criminal offense. Sunday, there is a big article I have written in Mathrubhumi Daily newspaper. So manpower is very costly and it's affecting the Kerala's. We said the Maharaja of Travancore, 1935, while inaugurating the Trivandrum rubber factory, he said, we have cheap labor and electricity which is available. Both are not here now today. So next is the land scarcity. Nowadays, land is become very precious. Nobody can do anything because the people are increasing and the utility of people are there increasing, and utilization also increasing, and people are going to the forest. And now, during COVID situation, the animals are coming down to their original places which we have occupied. We don't want to blame them, blame the animals, because they came back to their their home. Now we are getting angry, and they said government is not shooting the animals and they are disturbing them. You have disturbed them, or we have disturbed them. That's why they are coming back. They are forgetting that. Anyway, so land scarcity is another big problem as far as Kerala is concerned. Yet another problem is that the public consciousness, the word private, the word capital, the word profit, these are all synonymous. We are all against that. This is our psyche. Profit is bad, private sector is bad, the capitalism is bad. Whether bad or good, let some industry come here. Why not allow to do that? This is my general feeling. Whether you like it or not, certain amount of capitalism is a necessity. It's a necessary evil. You cannot help it. It has to. So this is another problem of public consciousness against this on some of the words. I largely blame the fourth estate and the so-called politicians or keep toying with some of these ideas. Heart of heart, they all know these are required, but they feel that the public is against it. Public is not against actually. But when in togetherness, when they in a meeting, they will all say that, oh, no, private sector is bad, etc., etc. This is our unfortunate situation. Next major issue is that, the bureaucracy, which is otherwise called red tapeism. Hello? Can you hear? Yeah.
We can hear you, sir. We
So-
can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear
some
you.
sort of red tapeism, which is otherwise called it. We have been talking about the single window clearance, ease of doing business. Government of India appointed a committee with the Niti Aayog chairman who came down and studied on ease of doing business. Kerala is still on 18th or 17th state in India in ease of doing business. And look at the World Bank also analyzed and found that India is somewhere in the 63rd position in the world. Singapore maybe the best. And so ease of doing business, national level is like that. In Kerala, I mean, Indian states level also, Kerala is lagging behind. What is the problem? We tried a single window clearance because sometimes the Kinfra was a convener of single window in our industrial parks. We made some effort and some success was there. But I can't say that is a very satisfactory success. Because the reason is very simple. Each of the department heads feels that they are like king, they are like monarch. They will only decide. The whole I, the ego, when I am the chairman of dash organization, whether it is pollution control board, whether it is electricity board, whether it is chief electrical inspector, whether it is a factories director, I'm not naming anything. The heads think that it is I who has to decide. So when the file comes, they will make one objection. When that is rectified, they will keep a second objection. And where is the law to stand against this? So my article, which I mentioned, Sunday, is very clearly said that each of these departments which is dealing with the industry, clearances and licenses to be given, they should act like an insurance agent. When a person for investment comes from abroad, within India, within Kerala, these department head or their representative should go and meet him at his residence or at his hotel. Tell him, sir, what do you want? What is the type of industry? This is a format, you kindly fill it up. I'll wait for you and get it filled up. And they say, and also say that, sir, these are some more additional points required to be substantiated. Shall I come tomorrow? Only when that situation comes, Kerala can industrialize. The bureaucracy or red tapeism should be tackled in this way by our own machinery. Otherwise, it cannot. Now, today, what is happening? I heard that, from Singapore or somewhere in a Keralite, and I heard the webinar of Malayalam Manorama the other day. I heard that, he came here, he wanted to invest 30 crores in a charitable type of institution to give training to the poor people in IT and related technical matters, IT and biotechnology, etc., etc. 30 crores his own money, because he made a lot of money, he thought of investing. So he made a proposal to make a 7-story building in his own land, he contributing. And it took 2.5 years to get the preliminary clearance. Building they could not start the building. Finally, they said that, mining geology department, he asked, what is this mining geology? I am making a foundation for, no, the foundation means you are mining it. This explanation given to the mining director. And he fed up and he stopped that idea. after 5 years. 5 years he tried. He said this 3 days back. His desperation. So this is the problem. Here what happened, because it's a charitable institution, he is contributing money, no business is coming. The concerned people know that there is no money will go to them. The illegal money they cannot collect. So they thought, let it be stopped. Probably, I don't know. I can't authentically say. But this person who wanted to invest, and he was totally upset the way things are going on. And for making a building in the city, what is the mining and geology to do with that? So this is a type of red tapeism. I said this as an example of how we are dealing with the single window clearance system of our state. So unless, like an insurance agent, these people should be asked to go. If the government is willing, they can change the departmental heads and say some youngsters who can go around and get this and meet the people and get these clearances done. That is the only way the red tapeism and the so-called bureaucracy can be straightened. This is the major problem, if you really ask me. This red tapeism and bureaucracy is the major problem. Then comes the labor laws. Labor laws, I never wanted to say that labor laws are wrong or labor laws should be avoided. We are not China. We are India, democratic country. The labor's interest should be protected. Because I clearly know during early 74, 75, when I was very active in the personnel management profession, I also sometimes thought that, you know, some of the labor laws are really problematic. But I found that time that one of the special economic zone, inside the labor laws are not enforced because of the special economic zone status. There, one of the company, for the engineer trainees outside is 400 rupees. This is, I'm talking about during early 70s. 400 rupees. They will pay only 200 rupees because labor laws are not applicable. That is called exploitation. So labor laws may be required, but it requires some moderation. Otherwise, now I am speaking to people in Palkat now, sitting in Palkat. You know that why there is a flight of industries. The industries are running away from Palkat to nearby Coimbatore. In Trivandrum, the cashew industry is near Takala, near Parashala. It is run away to Nagarkoil. Why? The enforcement machinery should be little more practical. Otherwise, the industry is run away. When the assistant labor officer got some powers to go and inspect the register, meticulously he wanted to enforce. The word meticulous is inverted commas because you properly see him, all meticulous will be over. That is the problem. So that sort of a moderation in enforcing labor laws. I don't want to detail because I don't want to say that labor laws should not be enforced because that's a wrong thing. But there is a moderation required in enforcing labor laws, which otherwise the industries will run away from the state of Kerala. Regarding quality of life, I already mentioned some clubs are required. There are IT industries, for modern industry, these are required. I remember a Japanese, when we went to Japan, tried to woo industries, the only question he asked is, there should be a direct flight from Tokyo to Kochi. Number two, you must develop a golf course. We'll come, play golf, and we'll see the factory and go back in the evening to Tokyo back. Think about it. If this is done, we are ready to start a big company. Maybe some straight away 10,000 crores of rupees we'll invest in Kochi. You give me the land and this living condition of direct flight as well as golf course. They're crazy about golf course. Some other country people wanted club and nightlife and things like that. And they are not doing any illegal activity. These are all done in Bangalore. For example, Bangalore near Whitefold, the IT industry people, there is a, I think 25-acre campus. Every interesting activities for leisure activities available there, gymnasium, and whatever for the wives to come, the officer's wife, the chief executive's wives to spend time. There should be a place for that is called quality of life should be there. This should be available to Kerala for the days to come. This is going to be very critical. You can record in your diary. After 10 years, you will realize what I said is correct. I am telling you. We are always 25 years behind Kerala in taking decisions and getting implemented. The last one is loading and unloading sector and manual labor. Imagine, you wanted to unload my domestic household materials when I get a transferred job from one place to other. Can you have a mental peace in unloading your materials? A simple logic. You will never get a mental peace. It's a tension. Your BP will go high. I was not having BP, but after 2-3 unloading, I'll get BP. Sure about it. Medical checkup, you can. So what should we do? Okay, there is a loading, unloading related loss. They will never accept that money. That is not enough. They want twice, not enough. They want thrice, no. They're so greedy. Finally, they'll say, okay, you get it unloaded, but give me the nokku. We are wait and observe it. Give me the money. That's why I said there should be imprisonment for such people. But whether there is a willingness or there is a willpower for our government to act is a question. I remember on Mrs. Anupama, she's an IAS officer. I think she is collector somewhere now. And when she entered the, I think she's a 2014 batch IAS officer. One of the first assignments she got in Trivandrum in 2015, she wanted to unload her house materials at her house near Keshavadavasapuram, Trivandrum. This loading and unloading people created problem. She unloaded herself and they threatened. She herself unloaded. It was a big newspaper item. An IAS officer of certain stature, young girl, it has become a big news in the Trivandrum during 2015 period, 14-15 period. Young IAS officer. Now she's a collector, as I mentioned. Anyway, these are the nuisance values created by the loading unloading sector of people is unimaginable. I am with them. I am for them. If you do physical labor, you have to get your due share. The government has fixed some price for, okay, one chair, one fridge, or whatever material, depending on the weight. There's a notification has been put. But who bothered about notification? So when my personal experience was that I had to call Labour Commission and said, my load of materials are coming from Cochin to Trivandrum. What shall I do? So he put a district labor officer in charge. So he called the union leader, said, don't come and play with here. Your money is already remitted to the labor department. You can collect it. How many people can do that? Calling Labour Commission is a very unfair thing, which I might have done it because I had no other way. So it is not very easy for everybody to call Labour Commission, get this thing. So this is a, see, as far as I am concerned, I was really afraid. And when I went to unload in Cochin, when I wanted to take charge of FACT, again I engaged somebody else to tackle the union leader outside and settle the matter, which I don't want to explain further. So these are the problems in loading unloading sector become a nuisance value. This is a big handicap for investors to come and industry in an investment in Kerala. Now, let me, I mean, how much time it is now left?
So actually, it is. You can go on, sir,
Okay.
and you can go on. You can go on because it's nice to hear about the opportunities that Kerala has.
Okay, so these are some of the areas which I thought of. I'll highlight regarding impediments of industrialization in Kerala. Now let me take you another next 5 minutes on Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman's statement about a week back on privatization. As I said, when Cochin Shipyard has to give a few shares, 10% shares to public, there was a big fight and hue and cry. Today, all public sector is going to be privatized. Nobody is opening their mouth. I don't know whether because of COVID or any other reason. Because there's a one shock. See, when the Kashmir issue was very serious, like a bud of a rose taken from the rose plant, with thorns, just taken it out and with one decision. I don't know whether it is almost similar to that. They just said that all going to be privatized. We are not come out of the shock of that. I don't know. One thing, my personal view, so I'll present it for discussion purposes, for our discussion next 10 minutes. My personal view on this, you can question me on this. The private sector, the public sector privatization is not a panacea or solution for all the evils of public sector. My statement number one. It is not a one-shot solution for this. But the way in which public sectors are functioning today, it is a centers of corruption. If the chief executive of public sector is blessed by the political leader, whether it is a minister or a very countable leader, then you can do any corruption. The only thing is he has to join hands with the corrupt practice asked by the minister or the politician. That is the only condition. So there is a saying in Malayalam, Kaatile Tadi Tevarida Ana, Valiyada Vali. So nobody is responsible. There is no commitment for the chief executive to the organization which he works. And the easy way of making money. There is a book by N. Vittal. He was the first CVC, Chief Vigilance Commissioner, and corruption in India. It's a very interesting book. Everybody should read it. But nobody wanted to read it because in the bureaucracy or political leaders, I talked about this book. Nobody wanted to read it because then there is a problem. They read it. So there is a interesting concept, TINA factor, TINA. There is no alternative. See, when you park your car at a wrong place, because there is no board, unknowingly you parked it. When you came back, there is a sticker in your car saying that 500 rupees fine for a no parking area. So suddenly the policeman also comes there. No, there is no board here, so I never thought it's a no parking area. I'm sorry, you have to pay 500 rupees. Then he say, no, if you want to go to the court, it will be submitted to the magistrate tomorrow. You can go to the court and then pay the fine at 500 rupees there and settle the matter. But I give you a solution. Give me 200 rupees, there is no receipt. You are happy, I am also happy. By making the 200 rupees, I had no botheration. Otherwise, tomorrow I have to come to the court, spending public money, and stand as a witness against you. You have to come to the court spending your fuel, and then fuel charge plus 500 rupees fine you have to pay. Now settle with 200 rupees. What do you think? This is the root cause of corruption, Mr. Vittal says. So it's better to settle with 200 rupees. So you never been corrupt in the past, but you are also dragged into corruption. This is the way corrupt practices are happening. Think about the electricity draining, stealing of electricity. Similar thing happened. I don't want to explain because Palakkad is a very sensitive area where the electricity is concerned. So coming back, the situation of the corruption, which is a big malaise as far as Kerala is concerned, the politicians in public sector. So privatization is the solution means no, it is not a solution. But in public sector, I remember there is a board of public sector enterprises, a voluntary board of the chief executives of public sector. I forgot the name. Yeah, Bureau of Public, not Bureau. Some body is there. It's all chief executives of Indian public sector members. I was also a member when I was FACT CMT. So they met and took some resolutions once, I remember. That is, I still remember Mr. C.S. Verma, Chairman and Managing Director of Steel Authority of India, and Mr. Ranguta, R-A-N-G-O-O-T-A. There is a Ranguta Commission for Modernizing Public Sector also. Ranguta, these two people, while they are in office, they said, because of the interference of bureaucracy, plus the politicians, the public sector chief executives are unable to function. While in the chair, they remarked, after retirement, like what I am doing is a very bad thing. When he was in the chair, he was telling and passed a resolution that we are unable to function because whether the bureaucrat who make no in the board meeting, don't do this, don't do this, do this, will they be responsible for the performance? No, they are not responsible. The performance responsibility with the CMD. At the same time, the board member who comes and sit, a joint secretary or somebody, make serious objection, don't do this, don't do this, do this. This Mr. Verma and Mr. Ranguta is asking, will they take the responsibility of non-performance of the public sector? They will be creating problems or hindrances for the functioning. That is the problem as far as public sector is concerned. I am trying to only highlight some of the issues which I, of course, I have 5 years service. I served for 1.5, 2 years. Then I resigned from FAC because of this reason. I may be a coward, but I'm telling you, I will not be able to tolerate corruption. So this is the problem with the public sector. So my suggestion, sorry, coming back, I diverted a little bit. My suggestion as far as the 100% privatization of all public sector except 4 in each of the sensitive sector. Maybe she must be talking about the telecommunication or cyber or some of the defense, strategic defense area. Except that, even defense 74% they decide to privatize. Good. My suggestion is instead of 100% privatization, why not privatize up to 51%? So the private people, by holding 51%, they can manage the matters independently, freely, take the right decisions. By representing the 49% by the government representative, by the government or professionals or whatever it may be, they can be a regulator in the sense, don't do this, don't do this. They can overrule. 51% fellow can overrule, but at least a good opposition. For example, I'm worried about, my FACT, we have 2,500 acres of land. If we say an open private sector, hundreds and thousands of people come and offer any amount because their intention is not to run a FACT as a profitable company, sell the land. So 100% privatization, they can easily sell the land and take all the money which they want to plan. Because the land value, as per the original land value, may be 10 rupees per cent, because the charter accountant calculation, the original land value reflected in the book of accounts is the original land price. Today it is 1,000 times or 10,000 times. Today the land value there is 10 lakhs per cent. The original land we put is only 100 rupees or so. So that means if such a decision has to be taken, like selling of land, many other decisions, like selling of land or different types of business. Suppose they wanted to start a nightclub, they cannot allow. For those things which is not an allowable thing, the 49% shareholder can put an embargo. This is the reason I am suggesting, why not give up to 51%? The business development, business decisions, right way to run the industry, 51% can take their own decisions. But the wrong decisions, if there is an objection of changing the Memorandum Articles Association, more than 56% if somebody is having, they can say no, it is not possible. So this is the way I am personally looking at the privatization. So the management of industries should be with the private sector. There's nothing wrong, and why not leave these things to the private sector up to 51% instead of 100%? These are some random thoughts came to my mind. I think now we'll leave for discussion for some time.
Sure, sir. So thank you very much for that thought provoking. And we know, like, we have lost somewhere from 1947 to today. We have our industrialization and the go back. No, normally people say that we should always look forward, but since Kerala had actually a good heritage before 1947, I think we should start looking back and then start our development from there. So now the participants, if you have any questions, you can please put it in the chat box so I can read it across to sir and sir can answer that for us. Or because I don't want you to unmute yourself because there'll be such a lot of chaos. So just to avoid the chaos, I would request you to put your questions in the chat box. So let's wait, sir. Let's wait
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
sure,
questions.
sure, sure. No problem.
80% of our participants are students, so I think there is a lot of opportunities for them. They should be asking questions now.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I'm waiting for that. Yes. There's no question means either they have not understood anything or they have understood all. I don't know what.
This was quite a comprehensive talk that you gave. So there is high chance that they have understood everything because you have not minced your words. You have spoken your mind out. I see a lot of appreciation for you, but no questions yet.
A lot of comments are coming, but no questions are coming.
Yes, no questions. Yeah, a lot of appreciation for you. And so many things that you said is a news to us.
To provoke your thoughts and passing of time, let me also tell you that recently Mr. T. Balakrishnan, Additional Chief Secretary, and myself went to Chennai for some CIA, Confederation of Industry meeting or something like that. See, there's a lot of Kerala businessmen in that crowd of Chennai. So somebody wanted to provoke us by asking that, you all purchasing from Tamil Nadu, everything from vegetable to any product, if you look at it, we are all purchasing from Tamil Nadu and you don't want to produce anything. What is this? In that crowd, when we came, it was highly embarrassing because the next step, 60% of the crowd is other Indian industry people. And 40% is around Kerala people. It was highly embarrassing. But then the only way we answered was that, yes, it is true and we are proud of it. You produce, after all, we are all India. You produce and we purchase it. We give you best money. You will not get that money in Tamil Nadu. That's why you are coming and selling us.
Good evening,
What is
sir. I have a question.
Yes, sure. Welcome.
Sir, I can ask a question to you.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, myself, Ken Matthews from Bangalore. So, my question is, it was an excellent session, number one. We came to know so many things which was unheard about industrialization of Kerala. But my question is, when you compare with other states where you have a lot of multinational companies, so as a strategist, what is your view on getting more investments to Kerala, more multinational companies coming to Kerala? What is your view on this?
I think I indirectly answered this question, and also I said that last week's my article very clearly said 1 lakh crore dollar will come in 6 months' time, provided you do 3 things. Number one, the red tapeism totally to avoid, and each of the heads of department should act as an insurance agent in the sense they will go to the industrialist house, let them not come to the office, give all clearances then and there at their place, not in the department place. So that sort of proactiveness for giving clearances. That's why I compared a story of 2 days back, 30 crore, somebody want to invest in a non-governmental setup to train people. 30 crore he want to invest. The building permission even after 5 years not given. So this is the problem, the comparison. And that man is such an international multi-millionaire and very philanthropic. He go back to his country and says that don't go to Kerala. So this problem this is number one, bureaucratic hurdles and red tapeism. Number two, the labor laws, some moderation is required. Labor laws are definitely welcome, but some moderation. Number three, the nuisance of loading and unloading labor. The so-called Nokuguli system. Nokuguli means you stand, look at the loading, unloading material, then you pay. That is to be, those people should be imprisoned at minimum 6 months to 2 years. That law should come because it is an illegal act. Even now, as per CRPC, illegal act is punishable, but nobody want to enforce this thing. If these three things are done, I guarantee in 6 months' time, $1 lakh crore investment come to Kerala, number one. Number two, your question in another way, Mr. Mohandas Pai asked me this question. Mohandas Pai, that earlier, very prolific speaker. He was in the Chennai audience. Then I asked this question. I was narrating the story of Rama, Lakshmana, Sita. You might have heard that. Did you hear the story?
I don't think people. You can say that.
Okay. After the capturing Sita back, Rama, Lakshmana, and Sita were traveling in the Pushpaga Vimana, returning from Sri Lanka to Ayodhya. After 5 minutes, so far Lakshmana was looking at Sita with a lot of reverence as a Bhabi, Jetatiyamma, the elder brother's wife. He never even looked at the face of Sita, like a motherhood, like that sort of thing. He always see the padasuram, the bangles in that leg, that sort of reverence attached to her. Suddenly, this sort of Lakshman started abusing Sita. Sita, I know what you are doing, Sita, Ravana's court. You are very bad. And what do you mean by chastity? This, that, everything. He started abusing Sita. Sita got upset. What is this, my brother talking? She looked at Rama. Hey, why are you closing eye and keeping silent? You give a blow to your brother and throw him out of the flight. Sita started shouting. Rama taken his own hand and said, you wait. Closed his eyes and wait. After half an hour, everything got cooled down. Lakshmana opened his eye as if he is opened from a sleep. Oh, is there anything wrong with me, my brother? Something gone wrong with me. Then Sita said, nothing doing, you bloody hell. Some sort of a language she also used against his younger brother. And then Rama said, Sita, the problem is not with Lakshmana. The flight was passing through Kerala. So the wind of Kerala tilted his mind. This is the reason. So this is the only way I can explain the Kerala problem. What is the problem? A Keralite coming inside Kerala create all the problem. A Keralite outside Kerala is like a slave. He works abroad anywhere. Okay, next question.
So there is a question here. Sir, you mentioned sustainable development as an alternative model for industrial development.
Yes.
What other models would you suggest in India, especially in Kerala, post-COVID era?
Frankly,
is the sustainable development the only way, or do you have some other model?
No. See, don't telling anything a Kerala model is a farce. First of all, there is no Kerala model because whatever Kerala model of industrialization so far is a big failure. Nothing happened. So I don't want it to Kerala model. One model I would prefer you to look is probably the model of Israel. My God, it's a desert. The whole of Israel is like a desert. Not even a drop of water available anywhere. and the way the agriculture developed in a place where there is no drop of water. Any water is artificially created. I mean, amazing. The greenhouses they created, the type of productivity in agriculture they created. That is the only model, even for agriculture, I can think of. I can even tell you that, the Nagpur orange in India, Nagpur, you heard about Nagpur orange. When you travel to
Yes.
the train, the 2 rupees during 80s, I used to get a bucket of orange. Only just 2 rupees, a big size of orange. So our Israel embassy people saw this. What is this highest productivity in Nagpur orange? They stolen the seeds of Nagpur orange to Israel, tried, but the orange came out very too small. They were worried. So many years gone. So the Israel administration told the embassy people in Israel embassy people, what is this? You can't cultivate orange, the similar type of orange in Nagpur in Israel. So their scientists were, taken to India. Very secretly, they studied the problems and things like that. Finally, they found that the soil of Nagpur is a problem, which is not available in Israel. So next diplomatic bag from India to Israel, because diplomatic bags are not inspected. So it's all soil from Nagpur were taken. A few 10 or 25 bag of soil from Nagpur was taken to Israel. Then they artificially grown further the type of bacteria or whatever in that soil, artificially grown, and within 5 years, the orange in Israel with this soil, created with this soil in Israel, is almost double the size of Nagpur orange. That is the way they're thinking. So I'll say that one model in my mind is Israel. Another model is more or less Singapore model. In Singapore, the way they handle the social realities. When we say that people should not spit, people should not, there is. I remember some 30 years back when I went to Singapore, people are not flushing the toilet, flushing. So the Prime Minister, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, at that time, he issued an order saying that those who are not flushing the toilet, especially the tube train. Tube train means the metro train. Is when he traveled through a train, he found that the toilet has stingy, bad smell. So he issued a notification in the newspapers and things like that. Those who are not doing it will be punished with $250. Already there is a punishment for spitting or putting some waste paper in the road. $250 are fine. Then and there is imposed. Then people smiled at. How are you going to find out in the toilet what I am going to do? This was the reaction. But you know what happened? The civil uniform, not police, civil people were standing inside the toilet. There were a few people in the toilet they can't identify. One of the chief executive of a big company who was not flushed and came out. So the policeman, with showing his identification, took photographs along with the toilet of this man and published the newspaper next day, fining $250. That was a great message. And it never happened thereafter. This is the way they are enforcing the legal mechanism. Can we do it in Kerala? We have to look at the so many other realities, the political interference. Even in Trivandrum, there is a place called Kavdiyar where I belongs to. The main road, in the night, the young guys driving the car 100-kilometer speed. Many times with the camera, police can catch. But it may be a DGP's son, it may be a minister's son, it may be a VIP's son that you leave him. So we could not enforce the discipline. Whereas in the UK, Prince Charles, some 40 years back, he was fined for a small traffic violation, the overspeeding. He was fined. Prince Charles means, you know that, Prince Charles. So that is the law enforcing mechanism in Kerala and other countries. This is the problem. Okay. So the model, the question, come back. One model is definitely sustainable model. Otherwise, you have to follow one of the other countries' model and then say how it reflects. Why waste your time in creating another model for Kerala and we could not even experiment it? Okay.
That's a lovely way of saying putting it across. So I don't see any more questions.
Okay.
So as we don't have any more questions, you have been speaking to us for almost 1 hour and 40 minutes now.
1 hour 40 minutes. Oh God.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And you gave us a lot of information. Now I request Dr. Dhanu, Faculty of Ahilya School of Management, to propose his vote of thanks, because you have spent so much of time. You gave us a lot of information. Now it is our chance to say a formal thank you to you.
Thank you, Vidin ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. And Dr. Gopal, it's a wonderful session because you have given 1 hour. This webinar is for 1 hour, and you keep on talking for 1 hour 40 minutes, and still yet nobody has left. I mean, most of the people are still on the webinar. It shows that how entertaining it was. It shows how informative it was, and it also is thought-provoking. Thank you for this wonderful time. You have touched upon the history, the present, and also the future vision that you have about Kerala. Thank you. Probably this is another day in office for you, but not for us. It is a wonderful day. It's a wonderful experience for us that we are able to share your wonderful and great experience mind. I want to thank Dr. Ashokan, Principal, Ahilya School of Management. He has been a great inspiration, and he's been coordinating these a lot of webinars in the last few weeks. Thank you, Ashokan sir, for all your support. Last but not least, our Sri Mahadevan Pillai sir, who is always encouraging us to have more programs, more webinars, more seminars if the college reopens, and make it a very truly global center of learning as in Ahilya. And last but not least, all the participants who has waited for more than 1.5 hours, 1 hour 40 minutes approximately, to listen to this great seminar and make this seminar a great success. Thank you once and all for everyone.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Bye. Thank you.